Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Simply Support Q&A training. This is how to change your life by slowing down, and I'm very excited for you to be here. Kate has been tapping away at this presentation for a good few hours, and I'm going to play the role of student and listener, and Kate's going to present, and I'm going to ask questions. She's going to ask me questions, and I'm going to hopefully play the role of you in the audience because I haven't seen this before. I know the concepts, obviously. They're very good concepts, but I've never actually seen this exact presentation. So we're excited because slowing down is something that Kate first introduced me to maybe 3 years ago. I don't know the exact dates, but a good amount of time ago. And it's one of those things that I had a lot of resistance to. And as if you've watched any of this content before, I really believe that if you feel a lot of resistance towards something, it usually means that there's a lot of good waiting for you if you can work through that resistance. This is exact same thing for me with slowing down, and I really hope that what Kate's about to present here will change your life and give you the tools to change your life. So I'm Joshua Stanier. This is Catherine Stanier. This is Simply Support, and we're excited for you to be here, Catherine.
Thank you, Joshua, for introducing that. Yes, no one has asked me this question for the Wednesday Q&A, but
I did.
Joshua, we were thinking about what question to ask because we want to be able to transition any individual to being supported in a way that makes sense. But we also know that through answering questions like this, you learn to support yourself. And learning how to slow down was something that changed my life. So this is why it's called How to Change Your Life by Slowing Down, because it really makes all the difference. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's fire it. Let's fire up an old screen share, baby. Right, we're in. Catherine, the mic is over to you.
So how to change your life by slowing down by Simply Support. I've made these infographics in the past and I found them to be very useful, and anyone who's in Simply Support will get access to this infographic within the community once the presentation is shared. So, okay. So I like metaphors to help me understand concepts, and the driving a car has been the metaphor that helps me understand slowing down the most. So think about when you are driving a car. What do you do before you turn? You slow down. You slow down because you want to be aware, assessing, and maintaining consistent control and vigilance. And the same thing happens in life. So with this in mind, our intention is to help you get in control and ready to turn. A lot of the individuals in this group are here looking for support because they're trying to change their life and experience. They were going one direction, but they're trying to turn and go into a different direction. And that's why slowing down is so important. You're driving yourself, your car, your vehicle into a different direction.
Yeah, I like it. And I think something that we don't get taught, because it's just we're all so high octane and it's all just go in one direction. And how I visualize this, maybe Kate will get into this more, and it does come down to how to change your life, because otherwise it's not, I guess, overly relevant. But if you are trying to change your life, it's kind of like that you were going down one road, and that's the road that you've been on. It's the one that you've been driving down. But then you're like kind of looking at this road thinking, damn, this ain't really the one I want. This isn't really, I'm not feeling that good. I want to change. Often I missed that to change road, you actually have to slow down and then turn and then get on another road. So there is an adjustment period, and slowing down is the first start of it, because if you can't slow down, I guess Kate will get into it.
Right. Yeah. Because when you're parking a car or you're turning at all, if you go 90 miles per hour, if you're going like your current like ding, 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 to pace, you're gonna crash.
Yeah. And in this world that we live in, never has that been more prevalent. Everything is now, immediacy.
Yeah. Fast.
Fast. We're encouraging slow.
So with that in mind, I like to get really clear about definitions. And so it's like, okay, well, you're telling me to slow down like a car, but what does it actually mean to slow down? It means to move at a pace slower than you were moving in before, and to be present as possible in each passing moment. So with these two definitions in mind, I want you to use them in comparison to the days that you live. We want you to start thinking about, what pace are you moving at? What is your current pace that you're moving through life? Because think about the car example. When when you're getting ready to turn, you're as present as possible. Your foot is making active shifts. You're alert checking for hazards. You take the time to look in the direction you're heading in that moment. So like I said, we want you to start thinking about your current pace and ask yourself the question, am I being as present as possible in each passing moment? The answer to this question will help reveal what pace you are moving at, and thinking about what pace it requires to be as present as possible in each passing moment. So are you rushing through your days, or are you moving on your own time, quote unquote?
I like that. And again, I'm just going to add context to the pace. I guess asking that question may illuminate. Can you just cover that light flashing?
What light's flashing at me? Oh,
It may illuminate like, damn, I am moving really fast. And also, again, it's just I like to pick up on trends that we're encouraged to do. And one of the key trends is, especially in America, and I'm obviously English, but in America specifically, there's always this like busyness, this doing this, move, do culture, you know, and that's what a lot of things over here people pride themselves on, you know, like if you speak to somebody here, the first thing they pretty much always say is, well, I'm busy, I've got stuff to be doing. And it's like, oh, well, maybe you're moving a bit fast. Maybe that pace of life is conducive to you not feeling your best, you know, maybe.
Yeah. And I've made the comparisons in the past between a slow day and a fast day for me. You know, the difference between waking up 10 minutes before I need to be somewhere, rushing to go through all of my morning routines and activities, or slowing down and giving myself permission to enjoy my life experiences. So it's just a lot of, we're just building awareness on this concept for you.
Yeah, because if I'd never like, you don't feel the need to slow down if you don't even know you're moving quick.
Yeah.
And the negatives to moving too fast, I think, are experientially inherent, because if you're moving too fast, you'll be tired more often, you'll be irritable more often, you just feel like you're not doing enough more often.
Right, we're gonna get into that, but that's exactly what we're talking about here. I know this is a Kate tech question, but are we seen in the screen share on Zoom? Okay.
I thought you were going to ask if I want to also know if people can read that. I would like to hear, because to me, I struggle.
This was something between me and Joshua, if this is legible, if not legible. So
but carry on.
Husband and wife things. Okay, so we only have so much cognition space to get us through the day. Think of it like an energy bar, like you see in video games. Your cognition, your mental action, processing, experiences, acquiring knowledge, and understanding through thought, all of it is limited space. But slowing down improves cognition and allows for more cognitive space. So with this in mind, some tasks require more cognitive space than others, like the difference between reading and then just going to the bathroom. They require different demands. So, but like I said, slowing down improves cognition and allows for more cognitive space. This is because when we are slowed down, our minds can more readily process information. Plus, when we slow down, our minds are not overthinking. Our cognition isn't so heavily depleted. So, you know, when you're just like rushing, you're not really concentrating on what you're doing. And that just uses more cognitive space. Like, or the concept of multitasking. Oh, I can do multiple things at one time. But then you're just, because you're trying to do two things at once, you're just energy bars going bloop, bloop, bloop. And you're just giving it all to multiple things, and you're using all of your cognitive space on scattered aspects and unfocused tasks. And just the concept of overthinking in the moment of like, when you're working on something and you're still overthinking and it's still going on, that's taking up cognitive space and lowering your bar throughout the day.
Yeah, and if you're moving fast, anything that moves fast always uses fuel more. More what's the opposite of efficient? It uses fuel,
burns it
quicker. The more you're doing, the faster it's going. You know, more times fast, that will equal burning more fuel. So therefore, using this metaphor, and firstly, I spent a lot of my time not waking up with a full green bar like that. So I guess that's for another video. But if you're not waking up with a full bar and then you're moving through really fast and you've got loads on the go, I don't believe multitasking is real. I think it's a myth. We lie to ourselves to be distracted. Again, probably another video. But the way I would visualize that, as you were saying it, is that it's kind of like you wake up, you got a bucket of water that's yours, and if you're doing too many things or too fast, you're just putting more holes in, and it's just draining you a lot faster.
Yeah. So I've really liked showing the video game metaphor to the people that I've supported in the past, and they found it very useful because it really is limited in a day. We think as humans we're unlimited and we can just search everything all day and watch everything all day and do all of these things all day, but it's like, but are you at your peak cognitive ability when you are doing all of those things?
Yeah.
And then how is that cognitive ability affecting your life? So
big.
This is
bigly.
This is what we're talking about here. Another reason to care about slowing down. Can you share the second page with me, honey?
Yeah.
Please. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
This is Kate's how Kate wanted to present. I think it's quite unique. I quite like it with the zoom in.
Okay, so slowing down has been shown to improve performance. This is true. I've gone out of my way to look up scientific articles about slowing down. And I have found that when you slow down, you are more vigilant. When you slow down, you can process more effectively. When you slow down, you can reflect and correct. And when you slow down, you can plan for next time. All of it is important, and just the same thing about driving. It's the same aspects apply to our lives.
Heard. And a driving example, when I was having lessons, my driving instructor used to say to me, smaller the gap, slower the speed. So it's quite interesting. If you do the inverse of that, it would be bigger the gap, faster the speed. So if you feel like there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to be, and that gap feels really big, maybe it's because you're just moving so fast, it's actually getting further away. And if you can just slow it down, it'll close the gap.
Interesting
Nice
concept. Yeah, I haven't thought
that's
about
that's
that
just what I
like
thought
that.
of when you were saying those things.
I like that.
And also as well, you are more vigilant. We're using the car example. It's like, how could you not be more visual? How could you not process things more reflectively, reflect, correct, plan for next time? If you're going slower, it's like, it's why we drive at 40 everywhere, Kate. we do. We're those people. And proudly those people.
I am very proud to be that person. As someone has gone from an 80-mile-per-hour average
bumper snatcher,
like weaving through the lanes, overtaking people, I go the pace or lower, and I just really cruise. And that's because I have incorporated this concept of slowing down into my life, and that could like be a good reference for you. I mean, going back to the beginning, how you're driving your car could give an indication about how you're going inside your life.
Agree.
So
unless you're a rally driver.
So as we want to possibly improve our performance with life, then it's helpful to know that slowing down helps with every single aspect of performance. So I like this one for performance, this analogy. So think about doctors during surgery. They don't rush, they are slow, vigilant, and processing what is happening at each moment. When you slow down, reflect, and correct, if we want to improve our performance, we need to reflect and correct. There is no other way, and slowing down is our way to do that. So think about the surgery again. What if the procedure went wrong? Because that happens. Procedures go wrong with doctors. The professional surgeon, this was an article I found, the difference between professional surgeons and amateur surgeons. Like someone went into that research.
Amateur surgeon.
Someone that like, well, in saying in that like there is a difference between someone that is like a well-renowned surgeon versus
like run of the mill.
I'm just a surgeon.
Yeah, so not amateur, maybe not the word. Because amateur indicates they're not being trained. But anyway, that's a small detail. Carry on.
It says the professional surgeon would take the time to reflect and figure out what to possibly correct for next time. So they noticed that distinctly between surgeons that were getting better results and ones that weren't. Was the one when interviewed, the professional surgeon said that they actually took a lot of time to slow down and reflect on what went right or wrong within the surgery and then corrected for next time.
Instead of just doing like another surgery.
And just being like, oh, well, I've got to do another one because practice makes perfect. It's like, well, are you thinking about what to improve for the next time? Or are you just going into it and hoping for the best?
Yeah.
So yeah, when we slow down, we can plan for next time. Without planning for next time, we can't consistently improve our performance, you know?
Because you keep doing what you've always done.
Right. And so it's like, with these Q&As. Someone made notes for me, Dave, in the group. Thank you. I love
Shout out
you.
to Dave. Much
You
love.
made notes based on the presentations we made about self-esteem. But I was like, I know how to make notes. I used to make notes all the time. So it's like, I'm going to make notes as well and improve my performance and presentations to you, the community that I care about, because I want to translate this information to you.
And that's how you grow, I guess.
Yeah.
Grow by going slow.
Grow by going
Because if you're just
slow.
going fast all the time, and again,
Another
another thing that you can experientially say to yourself now with this is there's a big push for like, oh, I've read 500 books this year, and it's like, oh, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. You could have read one book slowly and got way more out of it. But in your head, if you always just hear that, oh, you read 500 books, that's better. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I want to rock that challenge because, you know, I just don't think it is.
I agree with that. That's a very nice analogy as well. Okay, so this is controversial. When you slow down, you have more time. Maybe.
Why is that controversial?
Or at least it feels like when you effectively slow down, because how many people say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have any time. I'm too busy. All the things that you said in the beginning. When you slow down, you may actually figure out that you have more time than you think. And when you have more time to then take care of yourself and take care of your environment and take care about those you care about and take care of your future. When you take care of all these main aspects of your life, it's been shown that overall contentment and fulfillment with life improves. And I've seen that firsthand for myself. When I've been able to effectively slow down, I've been like, oh, what am I not doing for myself that I can be doing for myself? Oh, this person over here needs help. I'm going to go help them. Oh, there's a mess over here. I'm just going to clean this. This is what I feel drawn to do. It's because we're going to talk about how that process works, of how to the first step to slowing down, but it does unveil this, and it does, I believe, happen. So when you feel more content and fulfilled, we move through life with more ease, which is what I want for all of you watching this. I want that for all of you.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Because has that happened to you before?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So distracted, and you're not taking care of yourself. You're not taking care of your environment.
And then and it's like you wake up with especially if you come from I always call it the hustle porn culture, which has been bred into us over the last few years, especially with social media, is that you're kind of conditioned to wake up and try to get as much done. You can see the finish line of whatever project, say business, relationship thing that you're working on, and you're trying to get to the quote unquote end goal as fast as possible. But so then you just going so fast that you very rarely get there. Whereas if you just don't see it as a race and instead just slow down and enjoy the ride as it goes, you will do these things naturally. And when you do take care of your environment, take care of the people you care about, and take care of your future. In fact, I don't really agree with the third one, because the first two will just, for the most part, will take care of your future. But it's a small change, but one perspective. But yeah, I do agree with that.
Well, to take care of your future was just the metacognition, thinking about, oh well, what can I do better next time?
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
It's not just
retract disagreement.
The future is very unknown. Always.
Well, it doesn't exist.
Yes, exactly.
That's definitely another video.
This one makes me think about my life as well, in terms of the parental and generational trauma. It's like, oh, we have to work and we have to be at work. That's the best thing for our family and best thing for our children. And it's like,
maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. But it's, something we're going to talk about. So we want you to hit the pause button. This is the first step to slowing down, is hitting the pause button. To hit the pause button means to halt the current momentum of your life, take a break from your norm, delay further action. And so I want to ask you the question, what do you want to pause?
And this is not stop. It's very important distinguishing that. It's not stop, it's pause.
Right. Beep. Because I'm going to talk about that, but no, you're so right. I thank you for bringing it up, because by hitting the by hitting the pause button, slowing down, taking a break, you give yourself permission to change. And the words halt, take a break, to delay, these are all words implying that when we are hitting the pause button, we're only doing it for a short while. That's what I wanted to talk about. We are delaying further action for now so that later action can occur.
Yeah.
So if your life is moving in an unfavorable direction, pause. Habits don't feel controlled, pause. Thoughts and emotions feel out of hand, pause. About to act in a way you may regret, pause. It's ultimately up to you to decide what you pause. I don't know what you need to pause in your life. I don't know what's going on. I mean, some of you I know, but like only brief glimpses. So it's up to you to be like, I want to pause that aspect of my life.
And you can kind of see, I would see this very much. I always talk about split test, testing A versus B. And with this pause, it's kind of like, oh, maybe these people, what they're saying could actually be right, quote unquote, right, whatever that is. And if I just actually pause some of these things and see what happens, then experientially I'll know. So like, what are the fucking things that Kate used to make me pause? Still do it now, but like, sometimes when I get into projects, I just get crazy, elaborate and crazy, like,
I can think of a instance.
Let me just can I finish? So I get crazy elaborate and like my ideas get really expansive, and Kate just kind of asks me very frequently to just kind of like, oh, just put a pause on that, just pause those ideas, pause that elaboration for right now. And I used to really resist that and be like, oh, I need to move forward. I need to, if I don't think about this in this exact moment, I'm not going to get there. And it's just like, oh, just pause, pump on the brakes, and in doing so, all of a sudden, I've got cleaner clothes. Everywhere looks better. I'm eating better. I'm sleeping better. And it's like, bloody hell. Just from pausing, why would I want to go back? And it just so happens that the extra quote unquote time that I've got to do those things, like, the laundry, cooking for me and Kate better, just simple things, they improve the way I feel about myself. They improve the energy that I have, which then therefore gets me closer to the goal that I originally wanted. Do you see that?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So that's a test I would run, and like look at some of these things. Like I know I said I was going to be the student. Now I'm just splashing bars, but like just pause this sort of shit. Like especially the about to act in a way that you may regret. So for example, I'm really struggling to read this text, but one of the actions that I used to do would be like I'd kind of like hold it against Kate, or like keep talking about it, or like in a very vindictive way, and and I just put a pause on that behavior, because that's just not what I just pause that, slow down, and realize that it's fucking okay. But do you see, it's like just pause. It's not stop. It's not like you have to put the handbrake on and stop. It's just like a pause of like, okay, let's just have an assessment here.
I like that. I like that a lot. And like the way you may regret too, like we're into a lot of woodworking and other projects. And when we're measuring things and we can't figure it out and like nothing seems to be working, I like tune in and I'm like, pause for a minute. I'm hungry. He's probably hungry. We've been going at this for hours. Let's just pause for now. And then that's when you walk away and we're like, and we take care of ourselves. We eat some food and then reassess. And then once we get back into it and we re-strategize, then we're like, all right, let's keep going. And it's something that's really powerful. And something that I want to touch on more is the habits aspect of things, because what we do as humans is we normalize aspects of our life, even if they aren't serving us. And then it becomes very difficult for us to get out of routines of them. So when we hit the pause button on what is quote unquote normal for us and take a break from it, we open ourselves up to different habits, thoughts, and routines, and remind ourselves that we control what is normal to us.
So a good one for this habit, I would highly encourage you to pause, would be to, when you first wake up in the morning, don't check your phone. Just put a little pause on that habit, and it may illuminate some things as to where you may be fundamentally exposed. But you have to just put a pause on that and see what happens. That's what I got when you were reading that. I was like, just hit the pause button, and just, the normal thing is I wake up and check my phone, and I want to give myself to the world, or I want to check in on the world. It's like, I encourage you to just pause that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just for a day or two.
Because then like in that moment when you're not picking up your phone, it's like,
oh, what am I going to do with all this time?
Now
I'm just going to do I'm going to do all of these things that I actually wanted to do.
And that curiosity of now what opens
in your mind
is like, oh, well, maybe I could go for a walk.
Oh, I do
Maybe I
have
could
time.
sit down and breathe. Yeah,
Mm.
the more time concept comes up, because how much do we get on our phone, get distracted right away,
And then
on
it's
it
like
for 30
4 hours
minutes,
later, and you're
and then
like,
you're
huh?
like, oh.
Of course I don't have time.
So this pause button concept I thought about quite heavily last year. And so I want to be able to be honest with you in saying that we only want you to hit pause in a responsible way. You know, it's like when there are no other obligations occurring, when it won't put you or others at risk, when you have the right intentions and you're in a place that is peaceful, you know, because we know that everyone has, I mean, most people have responsibilities. You know, if you're taking care of a creature, you know, you can't just be like, well, I'm just not going to take care of you right now. You know, it's something where you have to be objective in your understanding of when you are going to hit pause, when you're going to pause these aspects of your life. So, but we want to, I want to highlight that consistency is important here, because we want this to be a regular part of your routine. So we want you to hit pause every day. So at what point during your day can you consistently hit the pause button for at least 20 minutes? Because
Good, yeah.
yeah, because we don't want this to be an overwhelming commitment to you. Sometimes you may need slash want more or less time, but for now, for the sake of you being here, we want you to try to set a standard for yourself for 20 minutes every day if possible.
Yeah. And this isn't like firstly, it's definitely a practice.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes for me now is like much, well, I can do way longer than that, but at the start it was like 2 minutes was a lot for me. So you can adjust the 20 minutes really however you want, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the consistency, it's like anything, isn't it? You need to build the rhythm, you need to build the muscle of it.
Yeah.
And also as well, I think just testing. I'm all about testing, and you don't have to believe anything we're saying here, just test it or don't. But if you do test it, you might find that just having those 20-minute periods, you become illuminated in so many different areas of your life that you were once struggling with. So you know, I don't know how that works or what it really is, but that does seem to happen
Right.
for me and a lot of other people that I've seen do this. It's
Mm.
like, oh, I'm just gonna go take 20 minutes to just be. It's like, huh? It's like, what do you mean? Well, you're not going to do anything. It's like, no, I'm just going to reflect and have a think. It's like, huh?
Mm.
That's been lost. Society's beating that out of us. The
Mm.
internet beats that out of us. And I encourage you to just go, give yourself time.
Yeah. And when you know that you have 20 minutes every day committed to this thinking mode, to this metacognition, thinking about what you're thinking about, you find a way to and find your own answers. Like Joshua says, when you're doing nothing besides just being and
just,
thinking for 20 minutes, something's going to happen to
Yep.
you. And that's what we want to open the door for happening. But besides just encouraging you to hit pause every day, hit pause when needed. You know, life is always moving. So it's up to us to know when we need to hit the pause button through awareness by the way of thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
So
I'm just confirming that we're sharing the right screen here.
Oh, that would be a shame.
Oh, well, it's too late now. Let me just stop the share and just jump back into it. I think we are, but I just want to double check. I just had a strange. Yeah, we're just pausing here. Yeah, we are. We're fine. Because it moved onto the other screen. But yeah, see, just pause.
Okay.
Now we're good.
We paused.
We paused, baby.
Now everything's fine.
All right.
So okay, just because you hit pause for 20 minutes every day, it doesn't mean that you're automatically aren't susceptible to unexpected triggers throughout the day that will cause you to need to hit the pause button. So it's about building awareness when you have to hit the pause button throughout the day, or in the moments where you feel an emotional state calling your attention, when you feel your mind is racing, when you feel you may act in a way we regret, what we talked about, and you don't feel focused or making silly errors like
aerials
like we talked about with the woodworking. So all of these scenarios would be good opportunities to hit the pause button.
Yep.
And as you build your awareness of these thoughts and emotions, it's best to manage them as promptly as possible. I would think, because I have resistance to this. Which Asha knows. It's just like, oh, I feel sad. I need to move through this. This is so silly. You know, I need to like keep going. And it's like, but do you really? Like, maybe you just need to hit the pause button.
I'm just like,
this
Kate,
attention
shut
is calling your attention. So, something that I found useful or I've shared with other people, and it's something I obviously need to keep incorporate into my life. But when the awareness comes up about your thoughts or emotions that need a pause, call it out. Snap your fingers, clap your hands, because it will be like you caught it in the moment, because you become present, and by taking and like, because it's all imaginary, right? You're just thinking it, like you're thinking, I am sad, I am stressed, I am tired. And those thoughts, no one else can hear them
or see them.
or see them.
They're not
Only
real
you
for
can.
you.
So when you hear it, you go, heard, okay, I'm feeling this way. Let me do something about it. And when you become present, you can take 3 intentional breaths. And then reorientate yourself and make the decision. Because when I get overwhelmed, like when I shared that message with you about what my vision is, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just shared that to the world, I have to do everything about it now. I felt there was like so many different actions that I could take in front of me.
She was listing them.
I was listing them. I had at least 20. But realistically, all I needed to do was hit the pause button for a minute. And when I did hit the pause button for a minute, I was like, I want to go for a walk. And that was exactly what I needed to do after like creating that whole funnel, sharing that message with you, pouring my heart out. Yeah, I need to go for a walk.
And for anybody out there that wants to be in the supportive role for themselves or others, we highly encourage that. And what I did in that moment, because I absolutely knew that Kate needed to pause, I was like, she just listing all this shit off, and I'm like, she definitely doesn't need to do any of that, but I can't tell her not to do those things or stop doing them or they're not good. I was just like, oh, well, let's just think for a minute. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Don't worry too much about those things. They'll be there when you come back. And Gabe's like, and then she starts to sit and breathe and be like, whoa. And remember earlier what we said about energy levels is that, and we can jump out of screen share.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Is about energy levels, is that when you do, especially if you're doing something that does take a lot of cognitive power, is that right after it, that bar that you've just used has gone, and the worst thing you could probably do then is try to do more, but that's again how we've been conditioned. So the answer is probably just to slow down and realize that you probably have done enough, and realize it's not all just on you.
Yeah, thanks, honey.
Because it isn't just all on
really, Joshua is always there for me behind the scenes. I love you with all my heart. So it's not like, okay, is teaching me these things. She's already perfected it. It's like,
oh
no,
no way.
I'm revisiting this information and I'm like, wow, Kate, I wrote this information, I'll be honest with y'all, a year ago.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Because it's crazy to me. Because
like if you wrote a best-selling book,
and then you revisit information a year ago and you're like, I wrote all of that.
Yeah,
I was very aware, and I was very like conscious of all of the different perspectives and all of the aspects of this. And I just want you to know that this has been information that's been in my life for a year, but I still haven't like quote unquote mastered it, because there is no mastering it. It's just a practice.
Yeah.
And something that you need to remember is that when you create a new brain pathway, so like by being here and watching this video, you've created a new brain pathway towards slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that you use that brain pathway and think about what we're telling you here and using it, the more that it's going to make an impact on your life. And so although I have a strong brain pathway towards this, there's always ways for me to introduce it back into my life. So what you're learning right now here is a lifelong skill.
Definitely, yeah.
And
I think it's
we
the
want
skill.
you to
I always say that about most of
way.
them. I always say this about most of them, but I think this is actually the skill. And for the science nerds out there, what Kate's talking about there is it's called the myelin sheath. And basically the neurotransmitters in your brain, as they're used more, it's what people call muscle memory. It's not actually a real thing. It's just the connections in your brain. They get this thing wrapped around it called the myelin sheath that essentially increases the connectivity. So if you imagine it like a wire, if the myelin sheath is low, it can only transfer 10 volts at a time. If it's thick, it can transfer 100 volts immediately.
Wow.
So that's how I visualize it anyway. And this skill is interesting because you don't actually do anything, but it's still something you have to learn how to do, which is fucking.
It's about not
like,
doing
what?
anything, but it's about doing something at the same time.
Which is
Yeah,
actually,
you're right. That's
it's like the
crazy.
ultimate paradox.
Oh my
Inverse
gosh.
paradox.
That's
dichotomy.
why so thank you for being here. We hope that we've enlightened you more about this concept of slowing down, and we've given you the first step, which is to hit the pause button.
I hope we've sold you on it.
I
To
agree.
at least try it. I'm all about trialing and sampling. I am for individual expect, because this may not work for everybody. I've never met somebody that this didn't work for. And one thing I did want to say is it is a skill that you gain. And at first, when you slow down, it may be like 10 minutes, and it could get worse. It could get worse in your mind. Like the thoughts start to race more. And if that is the case, just stick with it and just know that further down the path, you do get better at this, and you do get better at slowing down. And sometimes I can get really overwhelmed. And because I practiced this, I can just take a few deep breaths and be like, all right, let's just slow this down a sec. And then I've learned it. And then boom, 1 or 2 minutes later, I'm back to, I did it earlier when I wanted to, I felt a part of me wanting to fucking just keep talking about the text, just keep bringing it up. It's weird. And I'm like, oh, all right, just pause that, pause it, and then it goes away. But that's just a skill that I've developed. And I really encourage that skill development because it helps me, especially if anybody out there is married or in a long-term relationship, shout out to that. It's fucking hard shit, man. It tests me every single day. Anybody out there that's got a dog, puppy, animal, kids, any responsibility, it can be a lot. And having this ability to just, all right, let's fucking objectively reassess this and give myself some space to think about it. It really goes a long way. And it's a skill that's been lost more and more in this hyper-connected, immediate world.
I love you as my hype man. You're the best. And that's all I've got to say. This was plenty of information.
Yeah, plenty of information. There'll be relevant links in the description. If you watch this on YouTube publicly, you're not already in the community that we run. It's called Simply Support. It's a Discord channel right now. We may get our own app.
But we would love for you.
But we'd love for you to be in there and chat. And this is the cat's up, and maybe he's just woke up the dog. Perfect timing. As always. Oh, look at this. Wow, what a treat for the viewers.
Look at this. End of the show.
End of the show treat. Gatto. End of the show, Gatto. Get him on. Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. He's yes. There he is.
Oh, hello.
Who is this? Hold on. What's this? Oh, look at this. Oh, so sleep. I've been asleep for 6 hours.
You just put me in front of the camera.
Yeah, all relevant links will be in the description. You can also download the presentation, and we'll catch up next time.
Much love.
Much love, everybody. Peace.
Bye.